So let's talk about something that is just lurking around in what you call the global internet superhighway. Allianz Global Corporate Specialty today released a new report on cyber risks and trend around the world. The report highlighted a steady increase in the past few years, while the COVID-19 landscape has brought additional new challenges, with cyber insurance claims rising to new highs. To provide more insight and perspectives into the new report is Catharina Richter, Allianz Head of Global Cyber. Catharina joins me now from Munich. Good evening, madam. It's good to see you, Cathy.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you.
It's good to have you here on the show in Lagos tonight. What are the highlights of this report that was released today by Allianz?
Yeah, thank you. So Allianz did a big survey globally about the last 4 years about any type of cyber events and crime. And we did this not only to analyze our Allianz notified claims, but also any other claims where we were cooperating with other insurers globally to help our customers fighting cybercrime. Overall, what we really observe is that this has become a business more and more, and that cybercrime is truly augmenting. What we see in the same time also is that many of the, let's say, IT issues that corporates face are not originated by external hackers, but really stem from internal failure. We looked into the overall claims and we learned that still it is more than half of the claims that we are notified about stem from internal mistakes. So it's good, less than 50% are stemming from criminal activities. However, as you can see here, the number of cyber attacks have really steeply augmented, and this is a deep threat because also the cost of claims that relate to cyber attacks are really getting higher and higher.
Interesting.
So why is this the case?
Yes, please go ahead, Catharina.
Yeah. So why is this the case? It is not only because criminals are asking for high ransom. It's mostly also because all industry are more and more digitally connected, and the digital equipment that you have in your firms is really getting more and more complex, which means if you need to reinstall your IT, this takes longer and is more costly just by nature.
So in terms of these new cyber risks and what new trends are emerging globally, Dr. Catharina?
What we see here that, of course, now looking into this recent year where we all have COVID-19 challenges to face, many firms have sent their employees home and asked them to work from home office. And with that, the level of security often is lesser than if you would go into the office and work there in a very safe IT environment. And this has made it much easier for hackers to attack and to find ways to really cause harm to firms. Interesting.
So what do these risks mean for businesses and what sectors are more vulnerable? That's very worrying for me. Are there specific sectors that this report talked about in your analysis and survey?
What we can see over the time is really that these type of criminals try to earn money with their activities. And with that, they try to figure out who are my potential victims, where I could get most of the money from. So we see that financial service institutions are always attacked. This is a trend that started years ago. They try, of course, to really go into these deep pockets, but equally where they can assume that firms would fear a high reputational damage. So if you look about big hotels, right? So they may really just fear that if they hold many retail customer data, about their customers, that then they might also be some who say, in order to avoid reputational damage and in order to protect the privacy data of my customers, they might be tempted to pay ransom.
Okay, so now the part of this in moving forward, Dr. Catharina, is around how to prepare, practice, and prevent. And I love the triple Ps in your report. So how do we prepare as organizations and businesses? How do we prepare, how do we practice and prevent?
I think this prepare and practice prevent is really something that is important not only for every firm and the IT departments in every firm, but also that in corporates, every employee gets a specific training to learn what can I do to protect my privacy in my private life, how I use data, but also the privacy and the business secrets of the employer and the firm I'm working for. So that the most simple things are really the passwords that we create and that we use. They must be complex, and we must exchange our passwords on a regular basis. And in COVID times, it is even more advisable to change your password not only every 3 months, but even every month or more often, if that is a practice that your employer recommends. And of course, you never share your password with anybody. So you really have to keep the secret. What corporates can do in addition, and is really important, is that you create your backups and you save your backup of your firm's data in a separate place that cannot be equally hacked with the same means. Which means that in such an event where we have customers who have done their backup, it's rather easy to help them within short notice to rebuild their IT without stepping into negotiations with these criminals. Because these criminals are really people we do not want to support by any means and not to finance these activities.
I understand perfectly. You listed what the called to-do list is a little bit looking more like the health protocol for COVID-19. Wash your hands, social distancing, your face masks, and all of that. Avoid crowding. It looks like it's a whole different world we live in today, isn't it, Catharina?
Indeed.
Very different world.
Yeah. It is very different. And also you see that I'm now speaking to you from home, which is also my new working environment. And I must say we all regret that we cannot come closer and really have a coffee together and do that in person. That's the situation we have to live with most probably much longer. And therefore, this digital discipline is really important in order to allow us to stay connected.
We will have that coffee one day in Munich. If you otherwise you come to Lagos, we've got to let it happen. Dr. Catharina Richter, thank you so much, Head Global Cyber at Allianz in Munich. Thank you. Have a great evening, madam.